Staying in North America, and President Trump has proposed sending violent US citizens to El Salvador's mega prison, the Terrorism Confinement Center, a move likely unconstitutional. While his administration has already deported immigrants there, US citizens cannot legally be expelled under immigration law. Deportation applies only to non-citizens, and forcibly sending citizens abroad could violate constitutional protections like due process and bans on cruel punishment. Trump's envoy, Steve Witkoff, is pushing legal loopholes, including revoking naturalized citizenship in rare cases, which could make some eligible for deportation. The administration also sees strategic benefits, like removing individuals from US court jurisdiction and using harsh imprisonment as a deterrent. However, the Supreme Court has already pushed back against such overreach, and legal experts argue it's illegal to expatriate citizens for crimes. Overall, the policy faces major legal and constitutional barriers, despite Trump's intent and El Salvador's cooperation. Meanwhile, protesters have gathered outside the Salvadoran embassy as President Trump met Bukele, who refused to accept mistakenly deported Kilmar Abrego Garcia, sparking a legal crisis over the controversial deportation policy. This is what people who are part of the protests have had to say.
Today is 34 days after his disappearance, and I stand before you filled with spirit that refuses to bring down. I will not stop fighting until I see my husband alive. Kilmar, if you can hear me, stay strong. God hasn't forgotten about you. Our children are asking, when would you come home? And I pray for the day I tell them the time and date that you'll return.
And we do believe this case is so important because if he doesn't come back, this same pattern could be repeat with every single immigrant or anybody, even a U.S. citizen, that is sent to a concentration camp in El Salvador, which is called Secot. We're here to protest that Salvadorian President Bukele is meeting with Trump, and we don't want El Salvador to become the new concentration camp of the 2000s.
People of Salvadoran origin that have lived here for many, many years, who have children here, homes here, business here, are afraid that, as Trump already did in his first term, he will again eliminate protective status. So this is very, very serious for the Salvadoran community and for all the immigrant communities.
Moving now to Europe, and there have been reports of gun and arson attacks at least 6 prisons in France. The Justice Minister visited the Toulon prison, calling it acts of terrorism. Visiting Toulon prison in southern France, whose entrance was shot at with an AK-47 automatic rifle, Justice Minister Gérald Darmanin said he could not be sure if the attacks were linked to government efforts to clamp down on France's fast-growing drug trade. Darmanin, who plans to create new high-security prisons to crack down on gangsters who run their empires from behind bars, said at least 6 prisons had been targeting, adding that more prison officers union UFAP said vehicles were set on fire outside jails in Villepinte, Nanterre, Lyon and Valence. Here is what the French Justice Minister has said.
Je ne sais pas ce qui se cache derrière ce slogan, et d'ailleurs je m'en fiche, puisque ce que je retiens, c'est pas qu'on ait tagué une porte de prison, c'est qu'on ait tiré la Kalachnikov sur des agents. Et la deuxième des choses, je ne sais pas qui est responsable de ces qualifications terroristes, puisque le parquet national s'est saisi, mais je suis sûr que le procureur national aura l'occasion de commenter l'enquête judiciaire qui est sous son autorité.
We head now back to North America, and former US President Joe Biden, who demitted the presidential office in January, has hit out at his successor, President Donald Trump, in his first major speech since leaving the White House in January, where he defended the Social Security Administration as the US government is cutting its staff and shutting down some of its offices. The 82-year-old Democrat, who has largely avoided speaking publicly since exiting office in January, addressed the audience at the National Conference of Advocates, Counsellors and Representatives for the Disabled in Chicago. While calling Social Security more than a government program, Biden said this new administration has done so much damage and so much destruction. He added that the Trump administration has taken a hatchet to the agency. Let's listen in to Mr. Biden's take on the 100-day Trump administration.
Republicans, or these guys, are willing to hurt the middle class and the working class in order to deliver significant greater wealth to the already very wealthy. Who in the hell do they think they are? I really think, I mean, just basic decency. Who do they think they are? I think anybody should go out, if they can make $1 billion a year, they can, fine.